Have an intro.
But if you've noticed, we don't have a split screen.
Nope.
We have two chairs, though. Hi, everybody. We are talking to you together in the same room in South Florida. Do you see David's tan?
No, lack thereof.
You know, and he's wearing a T-shirt, not like a polar bear,
Not a
like,
sweater?
not a chinchilla,
No.
not a down jacket.
I mean, it's only 83 degrees out here.
It's going down to 58. You brought the cold weather,
Right. You want to go see? We got about 8 inches of snow coming our way. So, hey.
you know, but we have it pretty good, whether we're in Florida or if you're up in the Northeast where you're getting snowed on right now. You know, if you compare our lives to those people living in the Ukraine, I think we got it pretty good.
We got it way better than that.
You know, and we complain about gas every single day.
But still, we complain about everything. Think about it. All right, we're not happy with food. We're not happy. You know, if you look at what's going on the last few years, we bitch. We're a great bitching society.
Yep.
Reality is, if you look at what's going on in the Ukraine, that's called misery.
You know, and as I was just talking to you offline just before, you know, it took the United States almost 2 years to get involved in World War II. It took the Japanese kamikazes to blow the blitherine out of Pearl Harbor that propelled us into World War II. And, you know, here we are looking literally 80 years later, and we're still sitting on a fence talking about what we can do. Hey, listen, giving a guy a gun and a bullet.
But Stuart, you know why Americans, you know, look, think about it. World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq. You think about all of these hellholes, wars. Americans don't have the flavor for war anymore. We're done. Okay? We saw what happened when the Vietnam veterans came back. We saw what that war did. Repeat, rinse and repeat. The problem is that this is not an invasion. This is not about going into a country to take over like Afghanistan or like Iraq. The problem here is, and this is where the fear is at, not just the United States, but Canada and the West. You got a guy who's invading another country.
You know, yes, David. And I just had two guys here that are sending, you know, containers of medical supplies to the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And, you know, here is a difference. The Russians are calling it a military incursion.
No, the only Putin is calling it.
Hang on. And it's not a war, but they've just invaded another country, and they're shooting, bombing, killing people. It's a war.
Stuart, yeah, we call it a war. They're calling it reappropriating their territory. That's we've ranted about this a couple of times.
So does that mean we should reappropriate Upper Canada?
No,
the Americans.
Actually, we had this area first, but let's not go into the details.
Yeah, but Upper Canada, Lower Canada. We're not talking about Louisville.
No.
We're talking about Battle in New York.
We actually had everything all the way to the Ohio, Mississippi Valley. But the problem here's the problem.
Is Canada going to come down?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to
invade. You're here.
We're invading with maple syrup.
Oh wow.
The thing is,
don't joke. That's a whole podcast. We should talk about.
We're not going to get into that black market over there. But so here's the problem, which is struggling. Our prime minister got on a plane, went to Poland, went to talk to NATO, met with Ukrainian refugees, cried on television. By the way, Trudeau's a great. Like, he loves to cry. He's a big freaking baby. And it's like the heart bleeds, the heart bleeds. How many refugees do you think Canada's taken in from Ukraine?
How many, David?
Very few. The Syrian refugees, by the way, just to give you an idea, we took in 25,000 refugees, more than the United States did.
Living in hotels in Hamilton?
Not just in hotels, but like they got the pick of the litter, they got great lives. The Syrians were brought in, not a problem. Not the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are still struggling. And Canada, by the way, has one of the largest Ukrainian populations outside of the Ukraine. Okay, in central Canada, I'll give you an idea, just to give you an idea of how angry the population is. A hockey game, all right, a stupid hockey game between Washington Capitals and the Edmonton Oilers. And then we also had one with Calgary. Now, the Ukrainian population in Alberta, very, very solid. Famous Russian hockey player, good old Alex Ovechkin is playing. Did they boo this guy mercilessly? They brought in the Ukrainian choir to do the Canadian national anthem. They're passionate about Ukraine, and they're screaming at our government. What are you doing? You still need a visa to come into Canada. You still have there are people dying there. I mean, listen. Here's the crazy thing: 3 rabbis from Montreal flew out over to the Polish border to meet with the folks, with Ukrainian refugees. How do we help people? What's fascinating is that Israel opened its doors. It's bringing planes full of Ukrainian refugees. And Canada and the United States are sitting there with their thumb where? Up their butt.
Well, I mean, if we take the Ukrainians and get them to the southern border, they can just come in the country that way.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone else does.
Everybody, but join the Mexicans. But the problem...
Well, they're Mexican, Honduras, Venezuelans. They're from everywhere.
The problem I have here is this. The American population sits back and says, what can we do? Right? And you had it today. You had 2 guys here coming here to buy medical supplies to bring it to the Ukraine.
Yep.
We talked about donations. I met quite a few people. I know quite a few people in Montreal who are Ukrainian descent, sending money to try to help people. There is no electricity. There is no water. Food is a problem in many of these cities. And they are desperately trying to have money so they can get out and escape from the squalor. And yet, once again, our leaders let them down. They like to point the fingers, by the way, just so you know, Biden likes to point the finger at India and China. Where are they to support the war?
Well, hang on. Listen, I'm no fan of President Biden nor Vice President Harris.
Really? Didn't know that. Okay.
But, he has a point. At what point do we start constricting the people that are supporting financially, like India, like China,
Stuart,
and start tightening the noose around so that they tighten the noose around Putin?
But the problem is this, okay? Europe can't stop buying oil from... Yeah. And by the way, shout out to my friend Sass. We are not oil promoters. We're just realists in terms of where we are today. That in terms of oil, we're not here to promote oil. We would love to see renewable energies being put into place, but find me a government and a bunch of the entities involved that need to get it done. For today, we're too oil dependent. But Europe especially still buys a huge portion of its oil out of Russia.
But hang on a second. Again, dependent on oil isn't going to go away in 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years.
It doesn't matter.
Now, and just so you know, again, your friend Sass, who, again, I don't know who you are, but I hear you're his friend. So I kind of question your, a little bit. But the demand of oil and gas year over year has increased 30% in the global market, even though that it's come down, I don't know, about 4 or 5% over the last 5 years in the United States or North America. So you're not getting rid of oil and gas. And since it's global issues, whether you burn the oil or fossil fuel here, if you don't continue to constrain the amount you're burning in India, you're just
India and China are the worst. We know that.
Oh yeah.
But how do you stop? Okay, we saw what the problem is. If here, there's 2 parts to this. One is President Biden once again is using deflect tactics to deflect from the fact that the incompetence of this leadership is unbelievable, that they're really not helping.
Their whole administration say go buy a $50,000 to $60,000 electric car, and the guy that basically created the electric car market, Elon Musk, is saying drill baby drill.
Well, he's saying drill baby drill
for now. Of course. And I don't really understand that. If the guy that it really invented the modern electric car says drill baby drill, your friend Sass says, why are you promoting oil and gas? I just want to ask you a question, Sass. Are you going to sell your Tesla and buy another electric car? Because the guy that made that electric car didn't really educate you too much. Hang on a second, David. Where does the cobalt come from? Where does the raw materials that make 60% of your electric car comes from Russia and China?
Okay.
So, wait a second.
So if you want to punish now Russia and China.
No, I'm punishing Sass.
No, you're not punishing Sass.
Okay.
Again, he means well. And by the way, keep up the good work, Sass. He doesn't know anything about what you do. But the point is that when we're looking at China, Stuart, the problem is this government, our government, yours, mine, doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to cut off China. Doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to do what's necessary.
So what are you saying? So I should look back in history. Again, as a finance guy, I look at history to try and get an idea of what might happen. So we got to wait for some, rogue regime to blow up some American city to put us into a war.
I hate to say it, but it's, you know what?
That's as insane as you're going to get the combustible cars off the road in this decade.
Stuart, I'm going to tell you, the problem is, and I find this in the West, is we need a bad thing to occur to galvanize the West. Right now, this isn't bad enough.
Hang on a second. We elected the Democratic Party to the presidency and the House and the Senate. That's pretty damn bad.
No.
So what good is coming of it?
No.
Oh, that's right. We're going to hopefully flip the houses. I mean, I don't understand.
No. What I'm talking about is a catastrophic world event. Apparently, Ukraine's not good enough. Ukraine's not good enough for the administration. And God help if they're going to go into Poland, Moldova, or Hungary, or any of the NATO countries. What are the Americans going to do then? Are they going to sit by? Because right now, Zelensky has demanded, hoping, praying from governments to help him out. He needs the United States, and the U.S. is sitting there doing little to nothing. I mean, I'm sorry. And you know what? Here's the thing, the crazy thing, Stuart. Okay? The media is helping Biden out because Biden is looking not at helping Ukraine. He's looking at November.
Why are you so surprised?
I'm not, because he's looking at November and saying, what do I need to do to ensure that the House and the Senate stay Democrat? He doesn't care if Ukraine falls.
Nope.
He doesn't care about anything. And that's the thing. So when the media says, oh, Biden's doing a great job, it's the Republicans' fault. Voila, here's your problem. The Americans will say, we don't have to do anything. Biden is doing a wonderful job.
All the while, men, women, and children are dying. Listen, I also was talking with these two people that came into this office moments ago and said, why isn't the Ukrainian army attacking on the other side of the border? Why are they not blowing up stuff in Moscow? I mean, if you don't get the message into Russia that this is a false incursion.
And how can the Ukrainian army that's trying to protect its own borders, its own cities, Kharkiv, they're worried about falling. Kyiv, they're worrying about falling. They're worrying about other. Like, what are you going to do then? You can't split an army that is small. Now, look, we're talking about a population difference of a 3 or 4 to 1 difference in population, let alone a Russian army that's been built up over the last number of years.
But no, actually, the Russian army is primarily conscripts of men that are 16 to 19 years of age who think that they're entering in a country that they're liberating. In other words, the media in Russia is not.
But the volume of the Russian army, the size of the Russian army, you're talking about something else, but I'm saying the size of the Russian army is massive. The Ukrainians don't have that kind of army.
Well, again, the mortality rate of the Russian army is 2.5 to 3.5%. So considering that a militia is taking out 3% of what was supposed to be the most formidable military in the world next to the United States, it's pretty embarrassing on the world stage.
Yeah, but the worry here right now is, and this is what the United States
chemical weapons,
absolutely,
nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that's what's. And you know what? The world isn't talking enough of the fact that Putin has targeted the nuclear reactors. Putin has targeted killing people. Forget the hospitals.
Yeah, but his playbook is always say, "I'll never do it" and lie about it.
No, he never said he'll never do it. But he's doing it. He said he was going to raise Ukraine.
But the United States went and removed Saddam Hussein on the belief that he had nuclear weapons. Wow. Yet we're not willing to go into
and that's why
the Ukraine. Remember, we're not invading Russia.
No, but that's
we want to go into the Ukraine.
But Stuart, that's exactly why the Americans don't have the whole. The BS that there were no weapons of mass destruction.
What is BS an abbreviation for?
Bullshit.
Okay.
The amazing thing is that there are people who to this day will tell you they never found any weapons of mass destruction. But if you talk to the people who were on the ground, they saw it. They weren't allowed to report it. And so the American population is convinced that the invasion of Iraq was fabricated. Let's not do this here because they believe this is fabricated. I don't know. The blood and the guts that's on the streets of Ukraine, I don't know. That's not fabricated to me. And shame on the West. Like I said, if you see people at a groundswell of people doing what's necessary to help the people of Ukraine, but the American and Canadian and Western governments aren't willing to do what's necessary, Stuart, I'm sick.
David, that quarter hour is done. And you know what the difference is? You're sitting next to me.
Yeah, I got to go back to Canada. Folks,
you can always watch South Park.
Yeah. Folks, wishing you a great week. Stay well, and we'll catch you on